Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be covering a movement guide on Untitled tag game, because I don't see a lot of creators cover this. It could be just because the game isn't popular, or maybe just because the competitive community to make one of these. Just a guide on the game and how to move in it, obviously. I'm just showcasing some gameplay here that I'm doing great at. Now, before we start, make sure you guys like and subscribe and leave a comment if you want more of this. And if I've been getting a lot of people have been telling me to make the long drive video, so I can start that now, or I can make it next. Just let me know in the comments what you people want, so I can make more enjoyable content for people, because obviously I want to make good content for people. It's YouTube, and honestly, let's get right into it. Just to clarify, this is for recode. This is not for beta. This is for Untitled Tag Game recode, not Untitled Tag Game beta. Keep that in mind. Alright, first we want to talk about walking and running. Yes, there's a difference. It can be toggled in this game using the shift key. It's a really good tool to obviously, move in the game, but it is a very useful tool if you use it correctly. It's like one of those really easy things to learn, like instantly, but it's very, very hard to master. Like, I get that it's running, but like, if you can use this correctly, it can do really well. That goes for almost everything in this guide, because everything in this game used to its fullest potential, even though there's not a lot of movement tech in the game, if it's used correctly in the right hands, it can be absolutely insane. So that would be that. Jumping is also a very important part to this game. If you can learn to jump right against the walls, wall jumping will be really easy. We'll cover that later, but wall jumping can be a huge asset in movement. It can help you traverse like better distances and stuff. It's also a really good tool to be unpredictable in. A lot of people don't really cover this that much, but if you use jumping in the right directions and use them correctly, it can be crazy. Next, let's talk about the C button. The C button in this game does a wide variety of things. It can do two things, but those two things are crazy. So the first thing it can do is slide. This one I'd say is the least most useful tool. You can use it best to look behind you, as you see in the clip that I'm showing. I can use it to look behind you, but do be wary, because it does slow you down a tad bit. A very small bit, it slows you down, but it still can. Next, what you can do, if you're falling from a high enough surface and you press the C key anytime in midair, you will perform a roll. This will be very important later for movement. Next, let's talk about the things you can do with spacebar, other than jumping, well, of course. One really important detail in this game that can be very crucial is vaulting. Vaulting is huge. It can give you immense amount of height if used correctly. And for this, we'll be able to talk about wall jumps later. And lastly, I want to talk about the swing. Now, the swing is kind of weird, I would say. It's not great unless you time it right, because otherwise, it's going to change your position and it's going to slow you down. So the only way that you know that you're going to be swinging correctly is if your Y position doesn't look like it changes at all. Like in the clip here, you can see that I'm doing a swing. A swing is basically done when you find a surface that's pole-like and horizontally, and you press spacebar when you're under it, and that performs a swing. So as you saw there, that is, my Y position didn't change, so it was a good one, and I gained speed from it. But you can also lose as much speed as you can gain from this if used incorrectly. Now let's talk about the fun stuff, the cool movement tech that makes you go super far and super high. This is known as wall jumping. Wall jumping, I'd say, would be the first thing here. It is very crucial in order to getting height and making complicated routes in this game. And routes are pretty crazy. So to perform a wall jump, you have to do a very specifically timed and placed vault. Now, these are really important because obviously you can make good routes out of them, but it can also give you a huge, like, variety into the game. Because you can wall jump almost anywhere, and it can make a huge difference on your gameplay. Huge difference. And to perform one, it's actually quite simple. You find yourself something you can vault on that's somewhat high. And you want to jump, and you want to time your jump. You want to time your vault, basically, right when your head is at the very edge of the object. And if you do it correctly, it's kind of hard to do it on trees. But if you do it correctly, you can go insanely high. Otherwise, if you do it wrong, it'll just look like a normal vault, and you won't go super high. But if you do it right, you can get insane height from it. It is quite difficult to do, but once you do get it consistent, you can go really high like that. Like that. Like, see how high I got there? It may not look very high, but on some maps like Crossroads, you can go from the bottom into the tower window, and just from one well-timed wall jump, and it's very OP and cracked. Next, we're going to talk about rolling. So, rolling in beta is insane. But rolling in this game, you can still do some of the things in there, just not the same. Now, a lot of people don't know this because not everyone plays Recode. Most of the competitive scene is in beta. I'm just making this to try to transfer some of the competitive scene to Recode because Recode is cool. So, it's something called roll jumping. Or roll bouncing, sorry. This can be a little bit controversial because a lot of people say, like, it doesn't give you height and it doesn't, like, bring you far. But if you take some time to experiment with it, it does give you height and speed. And it can grant you great running power in this game. Great running power. It gets you basically a lot of height and speed. It almost works like a super jump. And you can go do some crazy things with this. You can, like, juke them down, like, jump down, and then roll jump to a place that they cannot jump to normally. And you'll be able to get away with it. And it's kind of broken. If you want to know how to do one of these, you basically want to get height, obviously, so you can roll, jump, and then roll. So that's the first step. You want to get comfortable with that. You can press C anytime in the air, and it should work. And I spawned very weird. So in order to do one, you want to obviously jump, do a roll, and then when you land on the ground, wait a small bit and then jump. And if you do it right, there's a quite difficult one here, because the community has actually made specific jumps for these. Although these jumps are really hard because obviously it doesn't give you a lot or a whole amount of flexibility, it does get the job done. So you can do that, which you can jump from this tree literally to the other tree just by doing a well-timed roll bounce. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but if you learn it, if you take the time to learn it, you can be pretty unavoidable, or pretty like dodgy, I would say. It'll make you a lot more unpredictable and a lot more like sporadic, I'd say. Although it is very hard to make. Specifically this one, because it covers a lot of distance and height. But a big thing that you want to do when doing roll jumps is make sure you jump at the right spot. It is very crucial in a roll jump, rather you jump in the right spot. Because since it's so like careful, dependent on where you are, it's going to be a very small window to do to get the max amount of height, because it doesn't give you that much height, but it can get you just enough height to reach those high ones. It's going to be very precise, especially the hard ones here. There we go. As you can see, I just made that. That is not a very easy jump, but is one of them. A lot of jumps here are not going to be easy. They're going to need to take a lot of time and practice. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this game is called vault stacking. Or at least what I call them. There's not a specific name for them, but vault stacking seems like a pretty fair name for it. So vault stacking can only be done on very specific maps, but if you can vault stack, you can go at crazy speeds. So a good example of vault stacking is on this map. Also, just one quick tip here. If you press X, your camera will be locked in one spot, in case you're wondering about that. Very good. So, a good example of vault stacking is on the stairs and canyons. If you spam really fast on those stairs, you can gain immense speed. Like, see how I'm going slightly faster? It can make you go way faster than just slightly faster. If you spam your spacebar at Godspeed, you will go Godspeed, like this. It's called vault stacking, and you can go insanely fast with it. Insanely fast with it. Now, there's not many spots you can do this. It's mainly just on, canyons and forests, like the one with the cave and the castle, or whatever. On the castle, you can trimp, or you can do it on the roof. Trimp, I don't know what I'm talking about. Trimp, I've been playing too much Evade. So that's going to cover it for all of the movement in Untitled Tag Game Recode. Now, I really hope this encourages you to play the game and try to get good at the game, because the competitive community is kind of dying out, and I'm kind of sad to see that. So, I would very much appreciate it if you were to give the game a try. I would also very much appreciate it if you would comment and tell me what video you would like next. I have been seeing a lot of long drives requests, but I just want to make sure that's for certain. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. I would just like to point out, sorry I didn't upload for like 6 years. We don't talk about that time gap there. Don't question it.